Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Mike Beer. Lots of stakes action for the New York Breds at Saratoga on Friday. The feature race is the Albany. Let's take a look at this field. 3-year-olds going a mile and an eighth. $250,000 is the purse. This is a pretty evenly matched group, Mike. You have some, accomplished horses like It's a Gamble, who won the off-turf Jersey Derby, some up-and-comers like American Revolution and Bobby Bow in from Southern California, and a good amount of speed as well.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like, not your typical, I guess, New York Pride Stakes race day, because it feels like American Revolution with his pedigree and connections. He doesn't really seem like a New York Bred. And of course, you have Bobby Bow shipping in for Baffert.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector. Bobby Bow, fresh off of a gate-to-wire maiden score against only 4 other maidens at Del Mar, is expected to make the lead, but he might have to go fast. That Joey Loose Lips, the 7, is pretty quick, and Purple Hearted also, the 3, has some speed. I think if Bobby Bow breaks, though, he might be the quickest from the stalls.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd be surprised if this was really a fast pace, Dan. And I guess we'll see how they decide to play it. To me, Bobby Bow, just based off of his first 3 starts, he's probably faster than those other horses early.
If there is a fast pace, it could help the one It's a Gamble, who has succeeded going turf to dirt in the past. Let's watch the Jersey Derby over a sealed fast track off the turf. We see him down towards the inside in here, and he is going to run down Indian Lake, who's a solid horse on the Mid-Atlantic circuit. The 6th place horse in this race, Riptide Rock, came back to win and with an 88 buyer up at Woodbine, then ran second in the Queen's Plate last week with an 87. It's a Gamble is a very hard-trying horse. He's a 3-time winner. The mile and an eighth, I think, will be okay for him. I wonder how much upside he has, though, after 11 starts.
Yeah, and it's still a question, to me anyway, it's just still a question of what It's a Gamble's best game is. Personally, it's probably turf. It also might be going a little bit shorter than this. His 2 wins on grass. We've talked about it before, Dan. They're both sprints. He's really explosive in shorter races, and the longer races, not so much. That win that we just saw there was fine, but man, that was a pretty fast pace, and he got a perfect trip to win.
American Revolution's only loss came in his debut sprinting. He faced a horse named Mandaloon that day. It was a very tough spot. Since then, flawless for Todd Pletcher, 2 for 2, including this blowout victory in the New York Derby at Finger Lakes. We see him as they turn into the stretch, take this thing over, and he is on his way. Not sure what he beat, but he beat him in fast time. 87 buyer, no problem with the 2 turns.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like he even got better when they stretched him out here. Now, as you pointed out, this isn't a good field. He towered over this field on paper. He won this race very easily off of a really good trip. He just seems like the kind of horse who can run, Dan. He had a little trouble in that debut against Mandaloon and ran very well that day. His 2 races since he's come back for Pletcher are both good, and it feels like he's getting better.
We just saw Purple Hearted finishing a tiring second in that New York Derby. He made the pace. It was a legitimate pace. He was just no match for the winner in the stretch, and it's hard watching that race to kind of make an excuse and say he's going to make up 7 lengths in, a month and a couple of days.
Yeah, it's hard to make a case for him in here. Maybe if it was just him and American Revolution again, you'd say, well, maybe he'll have a better chance to turn the tables a little bit, or at least make it closer. In this race, he also has to deal with Bobby Bow, who probably has more speed than he does. So it just feels like a really tough spot.
Trainer Brad Cox sends out the 4 Bingo John, a very game winner when stretched all the way out to this distance earlier in the meet. Let's watch that race right now. A couple of horses in the Albany coming out of this race. We see turning into the stretch, Joey Loose Lips has a big, big lead, and Bingo John has a lot of work to do. And there was a question, him stretching out from 6.5 to a mile and an eighth, whether he was going to get it. Joey Loose Lips gets very tired at the end, and Bingo John nails him on the wire.
Yeah, I think they both probably ran pretty well in here. Also, the horse that finishes third there, Our Man Mike, who was the favorite in this race, he's also back in this Albany. I feel like people could watch that race, Dan, and say Joey Loose Lips got beat, but he ran the better race. He made an early move on the turn there to blow that race open. Then he got tired late. I personally don't share that opinion. I think Bingo John ran the best race there and managed to get it done. And I like this horse over a distance of ground. This is what he's bred for. It feels like he's getting better as the distances get longer. He's got to improve again, but I could use this horse at the right price.
Bobby Bowe burned money in his first two starts sprinting in Southern California for Bob Baffert. He found the spot last time out. Let's watch that race. Stretched out to a mile at Del Mar against only four others. Bobby Bowe made a legitimate pace. He opened up on the turn. He draws off here into a respectable 87 Beyer speed figure. He could be the lone speed in here as he faces New York breds for the first time. What about this pedigree going a mile and an eighth, Mike? I think you could make a case that this is kind of a speed-oriented pedigree, and Bobby Bowe might have a tough time navigating the 9.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe it just won't matter, but he's not really bred to get better as the distances get longer. In this spot, again, maybe it won't matter. I'm afraid he's going to get loose on this field and wire them, Dan. That being said, I can't say that I'm thrilled with any of his 3 races. His first 2 starts where he lost at very short prices to stablemates of his, but still, those weren't impressive performances. And he just got absolutely loose on the lead last time. I don't know how good this horse is. And it just feels like he's going to take a lot of money in here, maybe for all the wrong reasons.
Potential upsetter in here is the 6 Anejo going out for Calumet Farm and Jack Sisterson. Let's watch his first time on dirt, his third lifetime effort. He ran at this mile and an eighth distance, first time blinkers, Mike. And this was a really breakthrough performance for Anejo, who showed much improved early speed with the addition of blinkers. You see, he's still learning. He's racing on his left lead at this juncture, but he collars the 6-5 favorite. He goes right on by, and he earns a respectable 82 Beyer. Maybe dirt's been his surface all along.
Yeah, I mean, just really improved with the surface switch and the stretch out and distance. He's another one, Dan. Didn't beat much of a field there. He did get a good figure for it. The 2 horses that ran second and third, they were the favorites. They were both stretching out for the first time. It felt like neither one of them really enjoyed that added distance, and Anejo did and was able to grind that race down. He clearly improved last time. There were ways to look at him and feel like, you know what, it's just the right spot for him to come right back. His half-brother, Twisted Tom, won this race a few years ago, and he's a true distance horse, so maybe that's the case with Anejo as well.
We saw Joey Looselips, good effort, first time against winners, and it was his first route race. He was stretching out 3 furlongs off a tiny layoff, and as Mike mentioned, made an early move to make the front before being run down by Bingo John. I think a good trip is coming here, sitting just off Bobby Bowe. He should be in prime contention when the real racing starts.
He should get another good trip in here because he's got that kind of tactical speed. Personally, I thought he got a great trip last time. I know that you could argue, again, that Irad just went a little too early trying to win that race, and it cost him at the end. And that's certainly, a valid way to look at the race, even if I don't quite share it. This horse is very lightly raced. He took a big step forward off the claim last time, and he could improve again.
Our man Mike was the beaten favorite, as Mike mentioned, in that Bingo John Joey Looselips race. We saw him running on at the end to finish third. That's kind of his running style. He doesn't have a lot of early speed. He might need some help, but this is his third race off of a short layoff. And that Joey Looselips Bingo John race was kind of controlled by horses up close. Our man Mike was one of the few horses making up ground. I'm expecting him to improve a bit here.
Yeah, I think he can too. I mean, last early in that race, wide on the turn, he was racing on. He never looked like he was ever going to get there, but he was racing on at the end. And maybe he gets a little bit more pace here, and it helps his chances. At this stage of the game, Dan, he's just a horse who has to really improve.
4-time stakes place, the number 9, It's Gravy. Earned a stakes placing on turf as well in his most recent start. That was his first 2-turn race, kind of an even performance. He's okay. I'm not sure about the mile and an eighth for him, and this post position means it's up to Rosario to work something out.
Yeah, and he's a horse who probably wants to be forward, so we'll see if Rosario can get the right trip for him. So far, based on what he's done, he doesn't really look that competitive in here. He's going to really need a trip, and then perhaps some other horses not to show up.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Albany. I think Bobby Bowe can sneak away. I'm curious to see what he does going a mile and an eighth. I have a feeling you're right, Mike, though. He might get hammered at the windows, and I want nothing if he's off at less than 2-1 or so. But I think he's loose. American Revolution looks very, very good. However, he's going to take money for Pletcher. You don't worry about distance for him.
Yeah, that's why I took him. I'm afraid of Bobby Bowe. I'm just not that afraid of him, Dan. I'm worried he's going to get loose in here. I just don't know how good he is. I have a little bit more confidence among the 2 favorites. I have a little more confidence in American Revolution. I'm going to take him, and I'm going to try to get Bingo John in there with him because I think he's going to appreciate the distance again.
And he seems to be improving at the right time, Bingo John, for excellent connections. 2, 4, 5, 6 for Mike, 5, 2, 6, 1 for me. It's the Albany, one of a slew of stakes races for New York breds at the Spa on Friday. Good luck.